Welcome to the Elevate Home Subscriptions podcast. Today we are interviewing Cortney Hoffman with Better Homes and Gardens Momentum. Cortney, first of all, thanks for coming. Appreciate you being here. You're awesome for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your real estate experience, how long you've been in real estate, what got you into real estate, and yeah, let's just start with that.
Okay, so I started investing in real estate about 5 years ago. My husband and I bought our first home, and throughout the process of finding our house, I just wound up loving researching the market and analyzing it. And so that's one reason why I wanted to become a realtor. At the time, I was working as a speech technician, and I had a couple of kids. And so I wanted to find something that I could do as a stay-at-home mom, and just kept coming back to real estate. And I've been loving it ever since.
That's also licensed for 5 years?
No, so we bought our condo back in 2019, and then I got my license in 2022.
Awesome.
I wish I would have done it sooner because I've just been loving it so much.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, we love to interview agents because we love to talk to them about Elevate a little bit too. So we're going to maybe start there. So tell me an Elevate either experience or something that maybe you love about Elevate. We love when agents talk about us because we're very, very, we just love it. It makes us feel good. So
right? Yeah. So I recommend you guys to all of my clients. I actually manage some properties.
Okay.
And so I recommend to my landlords that they have a home subscription or a home warranty, so that everything can be covered at their properties while they have tenants in it.
Nice.
And every time I've ever called to file a claim or anything, or have an issue taken care of, everybody's been super nice to me and super prompt with responding to the issues. So I've always had a good experience with you guys.
Thank you for sharing. We love property managers. We love, they need a warranty as well, and it helps kind of alleviate some of not only the cost of repairs, but also some of the frustration and hassles of owning a home, but also owning an investment property as well. So thanks for sharing that. Appreciate that. Okay. I love quotes. I'm a quote guy. What is your favorite quote? And tell me why you love that quote.
Okay, so when I was thinking about this, two quotes came to mind. The first one is by Alexander Hamilton. We love him, right? And it's, if you stand for nothing, then you'll fall for everything.
Oh, I love that.
And yeah, so my whole life, I've just thought about that quote and really tried to live up to that standard in my personal life as well as in business as well, and make sure that I'm keeping myself in check with who I am and my standards.
Okay, so I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. Mm-hmm. So if you stand for nothing, you fall for. Say that again. If you stand for nothing,
then you fall for everything.
You fall for everything. Mm-hmm. So what does Cortney stand for?
That's great. It's hard to encapsulate it in one sentence, but I would say that I stand for honesty and transparency, and making sure that my clients are well taken care of. And then in my personal life, I want to make sure that I do everything with integrity.
Love that. I can't even add to that. You just nailed it. It's that's just the most amazing thing. I love that quote as an amazing quote. Is there another quote you want to share?
There's the other one.
Okay. Number 2.
Pertains to who I am as my hobbies and everything. Okay. And that is the mountains are calling and I must go. So. John Muir.
That's awesome. Yeah, I this is so stupid and cheesy. I'm going to share it. When I hear that, my wife and I go to Disneyland every once in a while. We just went 3 or 4 weeks ago with our little 2-year-old grandson and then his parents, right? Yeah. And I've seen shirts that say the mountains are calling, and they're talking about Space Mountain and all the mountains at Disneyland, the Matterhorn and all those mountains. Is calling. You're probably not talking about those mountains, I would guess.
No. Something like, Kings Peak or Willow Peak or
Do you hike?
Timpanogos. Yeah.
You just love hiking, love wandering.
Yep. Peak bagging is what we call it.
Peak bagging? What is peak bagging?
Just, I'm not very good at it. My husband's better at it. But basically it's where you can connect the peaks, and you're just able to knock out a bunch of peaks in a short amount of time. And yeah, so Yeah.
What's the short of, like in a day? Like you go from peak to peak in a day? For real?
Yeah. There's actually, they make routes out of them. I'm not as like an expert in this as my husband, but basically they will connect a bunch of different peaks. Like there's the Whirl, WURL. So the Wasatch Ultra Ridgeline Link Up is what that stands for. And then the Alpine Ridge Link Up is another one. Anyway, there's a bunch of them like along the Wasatch Range.
That's awesome. I lived in Utah my whole life, and I've never even heard of this like peak bagging.
Right?
Peak bagging?
Yeah, I didn't learn about it until a few years ago.
That's amazing.
So.
That's cool. Well, good for you. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, last question I'll ask about ELEV8, and then we'll get into you as a realtor. But why is it important to have great vendors or referral partners like a home warranty company? We can even talk mortgage or inspection. Like, why is it important to you to have great partners like that?
Well, I think more important than, well, equally as important, I would say, is having great vendors is having experience with those vendors. Because if you don't have experience with a certain vendor, if you don't know their background or how they treat their clients or whatever, then you won't feel as confident in referring them to people. Totally. And these people trust you, Yeah. And so you have to have experience with them and know that they're somebody that you can trust with your loved ones. And so I recommend, like if you're a newer agent and you don't have experience with different home warranty companies, or like any other vendors, then do your research and make sure that you look at reviews, even interview them over the phone, and check out their background to make sure they're somebody that you would recommend.
That's great advice. So let's talk a little bit about newer agents, because you just kind of said if the newer agent doesn't know a vendor, let you go interview them. I love that you said this. So let's talk about a little bit about newer agent. You've been in real estate now a couple of years. What is advice, or what is something you would change, maybe going back, knowing what you know now? What would you do different, or what is advice you would give somebody that's getting into the real estate as a realtor?
So in pertaining to like vendors?
No, just in general. Totally in general. Okay. Like as a real estate person, what would you have changed? Yeah, let's take vendors out. Boom.
Okay.
Yeah. So just you as an agent, what would you do different?
I would not set my expectations so high in the beginning. I think it's pertinent to have goals, but not not let your happiness depend on whether or not you reach those goals and get those expectations met.
Totally.
Because I feel like during my first year as a realtor, it was a really hard year last year with real estate in general. Yeah. But it was, I didn't know any differently, and except for like seeing the success of other agents around me. And if I had stopped, I tapped my microphone. If I had stopped comparing where I was to where another realtor was, my day one is not going to be equal to their day 365, right? It's going to be completely different.
Yeah.
And so I wish I would have given myself a little bit more grace and been okay with the progress that I was making, because I was putting in the work. And even though I wasn't getting direct results immediately, all of the work that I was putting in was leading to where I want to be in the future. So totally.
You're great at this, by the way.
Thank you so much.
You're doing awesome.
Okay, that's good. I'm
no, you're doing awesome.
I don't want to look at the camera.
Fantastic. Yeah. It looks like there's like, how many cameras are on it?
Yeah.
See, sometimes I have to like look at it and then like reframe the question in my head. So there's a lot of real estate agents in Utah and Utah County and and Salt Lake County, whatever, Wasatch Front. What makes Cortney different? What makes you stand apart? What's your unique? I like to call it UVP, a unique value proposition, right? Why would I use you as an agent?
That's a great question. We can take that out. I think what sets me apart from other agents is that I really like to provide value along the way for my buyers and sellers. And so for my sellers, I get them a home warranty as soon as we list and make sure that their home is covered during that process.
Love
because
that.
The last thing you want is, something to go wrong with the furnace or the
Yes.
water heater or whatever, and to have like another thing to have to deal with, right? And so gives them a little bit of peace of mind. And then with my buyers, I also get them a home warranty as part of their closing gift, to make sure that during that first year of living in their new home, that some of the stressors of homeownership are taken care of. And then the second thing I do, I guess another thing that I do is I have a YouTube channel where I upload videos for buyers so that they can know about different areas in Utah.
Nice.
I specialize in Utah County, so that's mainly what I focus on.
Yeah.
But I also will put my listing videos on there as well, so that my sellers are getting more eyes on their property that's worldwide and not just, within Utah or whatever.
I love it. So first of all, you're speaking my language, the home warranty thing. So obviously listing coverage is great. Buyer's coverage is great. I'm gonna ask you a question. What is your YouTube channel?
It's called All Things Real Estate in Utah County.
All Things Real Estate in Utah County. Like and subscribe. All Things Real
you.
Estate. We're gonna pitch you. I don't know how many people are gonna like and subscribe from this, but we're gonna get you at least
Thank
one or
you.
two people.
Thank you so
yes, you
much.
bet. All Things Real Estate in Utah County. I love that. Okay, awesome. So as you kind of navigate through the real estate transaction, like there's so many things that go into a real estate transaction. What would you say like is the key factors that kind of contribute to a successful transaction?
I think communication among all parties is really key, because when there's several people involved in the real estate transaction. You've got title and the home inspector, and the list goes on and on. And making sure that all parties are being communicated with, and that most importantly, the buyers and the sellers are being heard, and that their needs are being met. I think when that is achieved, then it's a win-win situation for everyone.
So I think it's hugely important. I think communication can set you apart, which is kind of funny because you say communication and you think it's so simple, but we get all the time that there's lack of communication in a transaction, right? And so that is so hugely important. I love that you said that. Okay, so I used to sell real estate, and that doesn't matter. I'm not saying that to be like, oh, I'm so cool because I used to sell real estate, but I think I was cool because I think realtors are cool. But one of my favorite clients were first-time home buyers, because just the excitement that they had when they found a home, right? But what advice would you give a first-time home buyer that's trying to maybe purchase a home, especially in this market?
Right. Yes. Let me double check on what
Yeah, totally.
Because I just want to make sure I have in my mind what I wrote.
You seriously like this? I gave you
sent
these
this to me
questions
and I was
last night, and look at you like typing up all these answers. You're amazing.
You're so nice. Thank you.
You're amazing.
Okay, let's see. What number was that?
That was probably 2, 3, 4.
Oh,
5,
yes.
6,
Okay, got
6 or 7 maybe. Yeah.
So advice that I would give to somebody who's purchasing a home for the first time or selling their home for the first time would be to don't be afraid to ask questions to real estate professionals. I think we get in this mentality that we need to DIY everything, and know how to do everything and be an expert at everything. But it doesn't hurt to get a second opinion and rely on somebody who's an expert in the field.
I love it. It's funny you say DIY. Especially here in Utah, especially in Utah County, we can just do everything on our own. It's
Right.
As I've gotten older, I'm much less DIY. I'm much less. I just want somebody to do it.
Right, and if you can find somebody that helps, compensate with more value and providing you with more resources, then it'll be a much better experience.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, you want to go to somebody that has knowledge and has experience and has really the education, the training, right? And I totally agree. I love that. Okay, so we don't need to get into specific changes, okay? But there are changes in the industry, and changes can happen, and there's sometimes big ones and sometimes small ones.
Right.
How do you navigate and maybe educate yourself through the process of changes, and what do you do to share those with your clients?
So a lot of these changes that have been happening since I had my license have been like a little bit of a whirlwind, know, and it's been crazy to navigate it. But as I've gone through the past couple of years, I've realized that I need to look at every change as an opportunity to adapt and grow and become an even better communicator as a realtor. And so the way that I actually keep up with the trends is I am in meetings like all the time. Every week I have at least a few meetings that I'm going to, if not every day.
Yeah.
Whether that's in person or over Zoom, the continuing education credits that we have to get as realtors. So I attend those meetings, and then I'm lucky enough to have a brokerage that does a weekly town hall. And so we get together every week and discuss the different trends in the market and the changes that are happening.
You can never have too much education. Always learning, always growing, always adapting, right? Like, oh my gosh, you nailed it. I love it.
And that's the thing that I love about real estate is that it will forever, push me and challenge me. And every transaction that I've had has been vastly different. And so just being able to gain so much experience and variety I've been very grateful for that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, this is I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm going to share a couple stories that I have heard from other agents. But do you have maybe a memorable or an interesting story from a transaction, or maybe a showing or anything like that?
So this actually isn't my story, but I heard this from a colleague. So anyway, it has changed the way that I carry myself in real estate. So it's been pretty impactful and memorable.
Okay.
Anyway.
I'm very excited to hear it.
Okay, here we go. So this realtor had communicated with the listing agent that they were going to go tour this house. And so he set up an appointment with his clients and everything. And when they got to the house, they were touring, the first level and the kitchen, everything. And then they got to the second level, and when they reached the primary suite, they found two people sleeping in their bed.
No way.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened, like as far as like a miscommunication with the listing agent and the sellers or what. But anyway, they found the homeowners sleeping in their bed, so that's awkward.
There they were.
But anyway, so ever since he told me that story, I make sure that I triple check with the listing agent that we're good to go with the appointment. And I also make sure I like knock on the door, ring the doorbell, announce my presence so that I don't walk in on anybody.
Yeah, I have heard stories, and I actually have walked in on people
really?
showering, or I just like, oh my gosh, that is like the craziest thing.
Yeah.
I've also heard, and this will probably be cut out because it doesn't matter, but just so like it's so funny. I've actually heard people say that they've had, like, here in Utah County, like ghost experiences. Like things that are like, I have one agent, and she's been in the business for a long, long time, and she has like crazy stories.
That's freaky.
So, it's freaky. I believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
I do believe in ghosts, but I'm like, it's just crazy. That,
I mean, when you've had an experience with it, or somebody close to you that has, it's
totally
kind of hard to deny it, right?
It totally is. And I won't say I've had experiences, but I've heard of things, and we have like 7 minutes, but I'm going to share this real quick. So I used to watch Ghost Hunters. Like, I don't know if you ever saw that show on, like, I think it was on the History. I don't even know what channel it was on, but and some of the stuff that they found, and they're like they go debunk it. They try to go and debunk everything. They don't be like, oh my gosh, everything's a ghost.
Yeah.
But try to do it, and I'm like, they found some stuff. I'm like, I don't know how you can deny it. Like, I'm like, I believe in ghosts. But anyway.
Yeah, same.
That's cool. Okay. I'm a relationship guy, so this is a question I love to ask realtors, because I love to hear their I guess strategy or tactic around this. But how do you maintain or first build and maintain a relationship with your client from beginning to the transaction, through the transaction, but then I think more importantly, even sometimes after the transaction? Yeah,
I think that's extremely important as well. Making sure that not only like that they know about all the contract deadlines and protecting their earnest money and everything, as far as buyers go, but also just making sure that that you're thinking of them throughout the process and aware of their situation, helping remind them about what's the next step, right? Yeah. As well as like post transaction, once everything's done and everything, I like to provide a closing gift. I'm sure a lot of agents do. And I also like to keep in touch with them on their birthdays. Anytime I like see a meme or something that reminds me of them, I'll send it over.
That's cool.
Just to let them know I'm thinking about them. And I also have client events that I do throughout the year, and I make sure that they know that they're invited. And Christmas time is always a good time to give gifts. So
yeah,
that's what I do too.
What kind of client events have you done?
We've done, so my brokerage has one at least quarterly, and one of my favorites is, so we do a pumpkin mashup. At the end of the year, everybody can come get a pumpkin and decorate it and go trick-or-treating. We have like we'll have like booths set up so kids can go trick-or-treating. And then another one that we do is, it wasn't a pumpkin mashup. It was a pumpkin festival, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
And then we have a holiday mashup where we have all of the holidays celebrated at one event. And so we have Santa Claus and Bermuda shorts, and this usually happens like in June timeframe.
Yeah.
And then we have the Easter Bunny there, just like perfect opportunity to get your photo ops and celebrate all of the
I love it.
all of the holidays at once.
I will be at that mashup.
Sweet. Good.
We're helping. We're gonna do. I just hit my mic. We're doing Thanksgiving. We're gonna be
fun.
Thanksgiving. Yeah. That was
Yay.
of all the holidays, it's like the worst one. But it's like we were the last ones to pick because anyways. But so we're doing Thanksgiving.
That's so fun.
That is such a cool. I've been involved in with Aaron's holiday. He's done this for years. The holiday mashup for years. So it's actually a really cool event. Like it's really fun. Like I love it. Let's see. What are maybe like some challenges that you has faced as a realtor, and how do you overcome some of those challenges?
I think some of the challenges that I have faced are like when you don't have control in a transaction and things kind of just fall apart. I think that happens more often than some of us are willing to admit, right?
Yeah.
And I think just realizing that, real estate's like a roller coaster and anything can happen at any moment. There's tons of ups, lots of downs. And so just realizing that, another up will come and you just ride it out, right?
Totally. Hence the value of having somebody like you that can guide them through the process, right?
Right.
Yeah, to keep those ups up and maybe the downs not as so far down. But
right.
Yeah, that's awesome. So technology plays a really big part of real estate right now. And so with the rise of technology, how do you feel technology how do you use technology, first of all, in your business, but then also do you feel like technology can change maybe in the future for realtors?
Yeah, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is AI, right?
Totally.
Everybody's like, some people are scared, like that it's going to take over. Some people, and I like to be on this end where I'm using it to my advantage, right? And trying to make sure that I'm using it in a way that can help me keep in touch with people, like sending emails, and just automating my systems and just making it easier to be seen with people. And something that I feel like I realized early on in my real estate career is that a lot of people gravitate towards YouTube for research, right? And so putting myself on YouTube is something that has been helpful for me to reach people who are out of state and get in contact with them, where before I would have no way of contacting them.
Totally.
So that has been helpful.
Which, by the way, all things real estate in Utah County, like and subscribe. Did I say it? You
got it.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
okay, perfect. Do you see any like trends or maybe shifts in the market? Like I know like 2020, 2021 was kind of crazy. Do you see any trends or shifts in the market that maybe you need to like people would not want to know about, or that could affect maybe buyers or maybe affect sellers?
I think the biggest thing that stands out in my mind is like right now we have a housing shortage. We have a lot of buyers who are waiting on the sidelines, waiting for the interest rates to come down. And I just think that when if the interest rates do come down, then it's going to be kind of like it was back in 2021, 2022, where it's a frenzy and people are trying to outbid each other and spending more money that way. And so something that I recommend to people is if you're in a good financial position, it might be wise to get pre-qualified and just see if you can see what you can afford right now. Because since there's so many people waiting to buy, that opens up the inventory for you and makes it so that you can have your choice, right? Your pick of the litter among the houses, and also get interest rates. sorry, back a little bit, and make it so that you can get in a home at a much more affordable price, because when interest rates go down, usually the home prices go up, right?
Totally.
And so, and with bidding wars, it definitely goes up.
100%.
And so I would recommend that people see if they can do that, because there's a saying in real estate that you date the rate and you marry the price, right? So if you can get an affordable price, then you can refinance later and get a better rate.
So then would you say that now is the time to buy? Right now is the time to buy? Or should they wait?
Minute.
Should people wait? Go find a home right now if you don't have one.
No, I think that you should look at your finances and see, and look at your situation with your family. If you're bursting at the seams in your current position, if you're renting or whatever, then and you need a different place to go, then maybe now's the right time. But yeah, just take a look at all of those things and decide for yourself if it's something that's right for you.
I love it. There's like one or two questions, but it's 4:36. So
that's okay. You can go ahead.
Okay, I'll just kind of do this one last one, because it's actually really interesting when I ask this question, because sometimes you actually get kind of varying answers, even though you think that it'd be just like a similar answer every agent answers. But how do you approach pricing a property or approach pricing for a client? Like, let's say you go into a listing, right? And you say, okay, here's how I'm going to price this property. How do you approach that for a client?
So I run a comparable market analysis. I go onto the multiple listing service and check all of the aspects of a property, the age of the home, how many acres it has, right? And as well as the square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, basement, finished basement. I go into depth in all of these aspects and make sure that I'm finding properties that are within the area that are comparable to that, because that's exactly what an appraiser does.
Totally.
And I want to make sure that if I'm listing a house, that it's going to appraise for the amount that we've listed it at, because if a buyer comes in and needs to get financing, then I want to make sure that they'll be able to do that.
I love it. You're amazing. Like, you're like such a natural. Like you're so nervous, and you're just like, here you are, just like doing it. And it's funny. Like Cole, she came in with all these typed up answers. I'm like, oh, she's just gonna read it. You didn't even read it. Like,
thank you.
You're amazing.
I read it beforehand.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, you're so awesome.
Thank you so much.
That's amazing. So yeah, no, you thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Like this was absolutely great to get to know you a little bit better, and there's no doubt that in my mind that if a buyer or a seller used you as an agent, that they would feel comfortable, and there is definitely value in using you as a realtor. And thank you for sharing your story. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you letting me have this opportunity.
Yeah, you bet. So, how many kids do you have?
I have 2.
How old are they? I know I saw one at the thing.
Yes.
Or did I say 2 at the thing?
We'll probably take this out of the video, but
No, this is going right into the video. No, I'm just kidding.
So my eldest is, he had heart defects, and so he didn't make it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But that's why I was like,
okay. So
he would have been 3 this year.
That's what I was going to ask you. So how long did he? So he was born.
He was stillborn.
Stillborn. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. And then you have the one.
Yep. And then so we have Benji, and then we have Bonnie, and Bonnie is 2 this year.
Did I meet? Okay, Bonnie. Yeah, but okay. So that's why I saw it.
She's usually got a little boop.
Yeah.
Well,
that's adorable.
Water spouts sticking out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But, yeah.
What else can I do for you? Like, is there anything I can do for you as a realtor? Like, I mean, you texted me last night and had some questions. Did I answer that question?
Yes.
Good enough? Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
okay,
and
awesome.
That was great. I appreciate you letting me speak to the people.
Yeah. And
be better about my YouTube channone for sure, but
no, this is awesome. Yeah, so we can throw on. I mean, there'll be at least. I mean, this is why I asked so many questions, because there's going to be 5 or 6 of them that are like, that sucked. That's not because of what you said, but just because there's going to be so many others that were like, that was actually really good.
That was better than that one.
Yeah. And it's actually funny when I've done this before. I'll just think, man, I bombed it. It just felt so uncomfortable. But then you go watch it, and the way Cole can edit and cut and stuff. It's like
editing.
just actually, you actually look. It looks really good. Like, it looks awesome. So
awesome.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
No, thank you.